Whenever we're talking old school bodybuilding, the first body part that really comes to mind that's responsible for the overall aesthetic look is wide sweeping lats. And as far as lat exercises go, one exercise always comes to mind that in my opinion is the most responsible to achieve this look. It's not the barbell row, T-bar row, or even the old school dumbbell pullover, which are all great exercises on their own. But the one that's in my opinion the most responsible for that really classic old school look is the wide grip pull-up done all the way to the clavicle. Just look at guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Franco Columbu. Both had really wide sweeping lats and both did tons of pull-ups routinely in their training. The pull-up in general is an exercise that can be done with many variations. And although you rarely see this movement even done these days, you'll most likely see them performed with a medium grip that's just about shoulder width apart or slightly wider. This is generally the strongest position to be in to do pull-ups, and might be the one that you could lift the most weight with if you're doing weighted pull-ups. But the problem with this movement is it's really not a lat specific exercise, but more so a movement that targets the upper back, lower traps, rhomboids, and even rear delts. The reason for this in a pull-up or any vertical pulling movement is the path of the elbows is what dictates the target muscles being worked. With the shoulder width grip, the elbows are outside the body being pulled straight down. In the fully contracted position, the elbows end up moving in a straight path and ending up just a few inches outside the body. This movement pattern works the upper back great, but you're really not utilizing the lats completely in this exercise. If you watch anyone perform this movement, you can really see how much the lower traps and rhomboids are the prime mover of this exercise. To get full engagement of the lats, the elbows need to travel all the way into the sides of the body. This is something that can only be accomplished with a wider grip on a pull-up. That's generally about 1.5 to 2 times wider than a shoulder width grip. With this grip in the fully contracted position, the elbows will travel directly into the sides of the torso, fully contracting the lats. A tool I like to use to help people know exactly where they should expect to feel a movement is to replicate the exercise without weights. Take both hands and raise them completely overhead, fully extended at about shoulder width apart, as if you were hanging from a pull-up bar. Now pull your hands all the way down, leading with the elbows, as if you were pulling your body up, or the same way you would perform a lat pull down. Squeeze your back in the contracted position and notice what muscles you feel the most. If you're doing this correctly, you'll likely feel your shoulder blades pull together and the upper back fully contracting. Now do the same thing, but start at the top with a super wide grip and repeat that movement, but pull the elbows down and towards the body at the same time. This downward and inward pulling movement is what really engages the lats into this movement. This is exactly what the movement pattern should feel like on a wide grip pull-up. Now the grip itself is a game changer for the pull-up, but there's actually 2 other things I recommend you do specifically to make the wide grip pull-up an excellent lat exercise. The first is the dead hang. If you've watched any of my other videos, you've heard me talk about the full stretch and full contraction of a muscle during a movement. To ensure the target muscle is being trained, at the eccentric portion of the movement, you always want the target muscle to be fully stretched, obviously within safe limits, before starting the concentric. To accomplish this with the wider grip pull-up, you want a dead hang at the bottom. Failing to do this leaves the tension on the rear delts and the upper back. After a full stretch at the bottom, the key to taking the lats through a full range of motion is pulling all the way up to the clavicle. The idea of doing chin-ups or just getting your chin over the bar is okay. But again, if we're talking about making this a lat-specific movement, to get the elbows to travel all the way to the sides of your body in the contracted position, you must get the clavicle up to the bar. An alternative is to use a pull-up bar with a bent handle to increase the range of motion. But in my experience, a straight bar with a full range of motion cannot be beaten. I personally believe a straight bar is best for pull-ups. And if your gym doesn't have a straight bar to pull up on, you can even throw a barbell on the top pins of a squat rack and grab the bar in a similar grip you would use to perform a wide grip bench. With this movement, I really recommend sticking to bodyweight first and really perfecting the form, with the goal of eventually being able to do 20 strict bodyweight pull-ups with a dead hang all the way up to the clavicle. Once you're able to accomplish this, you should have some impressive lats, and then you can consider adding some additional weight. If you personally use wide grip pull-ups in your back training, comment down below with your experience. And if you want to build your physique using old school bodybuilding training methods, check out my old school mass gain program in the description, or get your own custom program below. Alright guys, that's it for the video. If you want to see more of the best original bodybuilding content just like this, make sure to hit subscribe.